After many seasons of the Oklahoma-based Street Outlaws, it was inevitable that the franchise would expand, spawning several highly successful spin-offs such as No Prep Kings, Fastest in America, and the popular Street Outlaws Memphis. The latter hasn't only depicted a different perspective of the racing scene away from Oklahoma, but also introduced us to many new faces, who didn't take long to become unforgettable. One of the iconic adrenaline-prone drivers is Doughboy, who has recently been the subject of much speculation regarding his whereabouts, due to his lack of recent appearances in the show, including several worrying rumors about his well-being. So, what is Doughboy doing now? What was the reason he left the show? And what is going on with his health? Stay here and know it all. Those who have been paying attention to Street Outlaws Memphis know who Doughboy is, and how much he's grown since the first time he sat behind the wheel. Despite being the son of Memphis race legend Deboss, Doughboy didn't start racing until 2018, during the show's second episode. Since then, Doughboy, whose real name is Joshua Day, has developed his career as a race driver and slowly gained followers on his own merit as the series advanced. That's why his sudden disappearance from the show and social media altogether from early 2021 seems surprising. Although Joshua himself hasn't come out to say what's happened to him, his father Deboss affirmed that a back disc injury has kept Joshua away from the racetrack, as The Sun reported in June 2021. Nonetheless, the fact that Joshua is absent from his family's and friends' social media has prompted several rumors about his well-being. The most popular started by a Reddit user who affirmed that Joshua's problems with the law caused his exit from the show. However, it's important to point out that the latter is an internet rumor, and that to date, the only official information about Joshua's well-being is still what Deboss affirmed about his health. Those who remember Doughboy's debut in Street Outlaws surely remember that he didn't own a race car. In fact, it was thanks to fellow racer Lee Roberts who kindly lent his 1973 Nova to the inexperienced Doughboy back in the day, as an act of gratitude towards Deboss, whom Lee considers his family. It wasn't long until Doughboy took matters into his own hands and found himself a good ride, as seen in his Instagram posts from 2018. Doughboy actually bought and fixed up a 1962 Chevrolet Impala with the help of his father, as he wrote, "Thanks so much for helping me and always looking out for me. Truly is a blessing to be your son." From then on, Doughboy took his red Impala everywhere and turned it into his preferred ride. However, ever since Doughboy's disappearance from the show and social media, the fate of the 1962 Impala is unknown. The car hasn't been seen either on wife Chelsea's or his father's social media. It leaves us no other option than to wait for Doughboy's hopeful eventual return, to really know whatever happened to his car. From the Memphis-based drivers in Street Outlaws, racing is more than just money and adrenaline, but a family matter as well. Besides being the son of Deboss, Doughboy is married to fellow Memphis-based racer Chelsea Day, who is the sister of the iconic racer Precious Cooper. Unfortunately, not much is known about Joshua's family on his mother's side, but his paternal family is quite big to say the least. As it happens, he was born from a relationship Deboss had years prior to marrying his current wife, Trisha Day, with whom he has so far welcomed 4 kids, who are Joshua's much younger step-siblings. Aside from them, Joshua has 6 other siblings on his father's side who sadly haven't been seen much in Street Outlaws Memphis or other shows of the franchise. However, Joshua and Chelsea have been married since September 2015 and have welcomed son Camden and daughter Novale. Aside from them, Deboss has another 3 grandkids, but those names are unknown. As one of the main drivers of the Deboss team, Chelsea Day is certainly one of the most iconic drivers from Street Outlaws Memphis. Although a native of Joyner, Arkansas, Chelsea has seemingly been living in Memphis, Tennessee for some time. As seen on her social media, she's been racing since 2013, and though it's unknown where her inspiration to enter a male-dominated scene came from, it's for certain that Chelsea has been quite dedicated to it for some considerable time. As seen on her social media, she's been racing since 2013, And though it's unknown where her inspiration to enter such a male-dominated scene came from, it's for certain that Chelsea has been quite dedicated to it for some considerable time. During those times, her preferred car for the street was her red 1973 Camaro. Though as years passed, she had other powerful drives, such as her 2001 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, a white 1973 Camaro, and the Tomcat, a 1966 Chevelle she currently races. Besides her impressive facet as a race driver, Chelsea is a dedicated wife and mother, who also strongly supports the entirety of her racing family in their endeavors. While Doughboy is considered part of the Deboss team, the truth is that he isn't actually an official member of it. However, other drivers from Street Outlaws Memphis have been on the road with JJ for several years and have brought many victories. Considered one of the stars of the show and the Memphis street racing scene, Precious Cooper is always a sight to behold when she's behind the wheel. Just as her younger sister Chelsea, Precious has been loving the Memphis racing scene since moving there from Arkansas as a teen. However, Precious's time to take a rightful spot behind the wheel didn't come until adulthood, when her talent and passion for speed quickly gained her the title of Queen of the Streets. Not only is Precious a great driver, but she's also provided some of the most iconic moments in the show, such as the driver from Nevada who crashed his car after bad-mouthing Precious's abilities behind the wheel. Just as she affirmed in the early 2022 episode of Street Outlaws Memphis, she was quite doubtful of whether her competitor Jeff Haggard's car was allowed on the streets. Although Haggard said his Blazer was street legal, he also boasted at being able to kick her ass, which in the end failed miserably, as he crashed before the finish line and Precious was the resulting winner. That being said, Precious is undoubtedly one of the most skillful drivers in the Street Outlaws franchise, and has made sure to prove it several times. Honoring her spot in her husband JJ Deboss's team, Trisha Day makes sure to always go to the limit and bring home the money when she's behind the wheel. Trisha, whose real name is Patricia Wayne but is also known as Trisha, or as Midget for her short height, doesn't let anything stop her while she's on the track, even challenging her husband and some of the most reckless drivers from all around the country. Despite her expertise, Trisha has also had her fair share of accidents. Before obtaining her favorite ride heifer in 2019, she suffered a terrible accident behind the wheel of the 1966 Chevrolet Nova 2 called Zip Tie, which is JJ's signature ride and the same model of heifer. However, it seems that Zip Tie and Trisha really don't have a good history together, as in early 2022, she suffered yet another accident while filming Street Outlaws America's List. The latter accident occurred when JJ lost control of his Hummingbird while he and Trisha raced against each other, resulting in him crashing against Zip Tie and sending her rolling over in the air onto the side road. Despite sustaining terrible injuries as a result, in late 2022, Trisha and JJ finally drove the Zip Tie again, to prove that nothing can really stop Memphis's drivers. Despite not officially forming part of the JJ Deboss's team, Lee Roberts is quite close to the Day family and has lent them his help when needed. Lee's preferred ride is the Night Force, a stunning electric blue 1983 Chevy Nova, which has gained him some of the most difficult race wins all around the country. By far, Lee's best year behind the wheel was 2019, when he won 11 races for a final $10,000 prize each, added to being placed as a semi-finalist in other highly competitive contests. Besides being an excellent driver, Lee is a dedicated member of his community, even joining forces with the local Memphis-based Carl Perkins Center to spread awareness of child abuse and family neglect. Other than that, Lee is an avid hunter and dedicated father and husband, often showing his followers some of his outdoors adventures with his kids. Known as one of the most stable drivers of Memphis, JJ Deboss, whose real name is Jonathan Day, is definitely an unforgettable man when he's on the track. Jonathan's early stories with cars go back to when he was a small child in his native Joyner, Arkansas, and worked building roofs to sustain himself. According to his website, JJ was always country, poor, and happy, but apparently always willing to do what was needed to earn a couple of dollars. Taking on gambling and hustling earned him many dollars, and at the early age of 10, He was already racing on Mississippi's gravel roads. Growing up, JJ already had sorted out how to sustain himself, but even that didn't stop him from allegedly committing several errors which landed him in jail. After over 8 years behind the bars of a federal prison, Jonathan was a new man and did his best to build a life doing what he loved the most. Soon enough, his long-acquired skills at fixing and building cars resulted in him making enough money to invest in his passion for racing, eventually buying and flipping several cars which he has put on the streets through his team or driving them himself. In the end, Jonathan Day truly deserves his reputation as a most feared man of the streets for his resilience and resourceful ways. Although no one denies that drama is usual in the street racing scene, most of the time, the personal problems or discussions between drivers don't have any legal consequences. However, in 2018, JJ Deboss and Discovery were actually sued for an alleged event which occurred while on the track. As it happened back in late 2017, the couple formed by racer Chad Larkin and his wife Jenny were apparently contacted by Discovery Channel to appear in Street Outlaws Memphis, but what was assumed to be a friendly competition resulted in several drivers being pushed to compete against JJ Deboss's team, and the situation only worsened when, in a sudden move, Larkin was physically attacked by Jonathan Day and race driver Kenneth Gully and pushed to the ground. He felt immediate pain in his leg, as though his muscles and tendons were ripping. At that point, Larkin was on his back with his face exposed, as court documents stated. As affirmed by Larkin, he feared for his life as the assault continued, and Discovery producers allegedly did nothing to help him. During the incident, Jenny was attacked by an unidentified female member of the show. Larkins asked for $5 million compensation for damages, but it's unclear what the case resulted in. As one of the most popular shows from the franchise, Street Outlaws Memphis has maintained a stable place in Discovery Channel's programming. Nonetheless, while the latest and 5th season of the show wrapped up in late 2021, no comments about its return have been announced, either by the network or the cast members. Although the show's prolonged absence from TV might worry fans, the truth is that the Memphis drivers have been quite busy appearing in other series of the franchise. The whole cast have become regulars in America's List, added to Precious Cooper and Trisha Day forming part of the all-women show Gone Girl. While the future of Street Outlaws Memphis is not clear these days, it's for sure that its beloved will surely continue appearing in other shows. This also means that Doughboy will most likely have a place in the franchise, in the hopeful case that he returns to TV. Thank you for spending some time with us. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question in the comments below. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you back tomorrow.